Hello, and welcome to another conversation in the divorce discussion series. And I am really excited to have Gwen Lepard here speaking with us today. She is a transformational coach and luminary, and she is going to talk to us all about going beyond your divorce and maybe dealing with some of those lingering things that happen around narcissistic abuse, which is certainly a concern for a lot of people going through divorce. So, hey, Gwen, wonderful to have you here today.
Thank you, Marty. I'm happy to be here. Um, quite a day.
Well, yeah, yes, and it's what you're talking about is one of those topics that comes up all the time. How do I move forward after I've dealt with some kind of really shitty relationship, and now I need to move forward, or I've had all these horrible things happen in my life, and now I'm trying to move beyond what the divorce is holding me back with. So before we get into all of that, tell me a little bit about what got you here and why is this sort of your area of passion and focus now?
What got me here was a narcissistic husband who I didn't believe my stepmom when she came to me with this checklist of 10 ways to tell if a person is a narcissist. And I checked 9 of them, but, because that 10th one wasn't checked, I didn't believe it. And it took years later after actually leaving the marriage, which was done in a very traumatic and violent way. And it led me back to coming back into myself. And I studied so many things because I knew that I had attracted this. And so I took all this responsibility on, and some people got mad at me because they felt that I was victim blaming myself. And I get that, but I really felt that it was part of my soul journey to have this experience with this person, that because as an empath, we're like a buffet for narcissists. They like see this person that sees all the potential and really wants to help and is going to give you their heart and soul and make them the happiest person possible, and they're just go and they don't give back.
Yeah.
Because narcissists really can't.
Yeah.
That a true narcissist, there's something wrong with their brain. They can't feel empathy. And so they just keep taking.
Yeah.
And you often see a very successful narcissist, very charming, and everyone loves that person. And then you see their spouse, who is usually overweight or super, super thin, gray, mousy, hidden. And it's like, what happened there? Why are those two together?
Yeah.
And I started out, I was very successful, had a successful radio career, and he had a radio production company. And so we met, and we're going to be this power couple. And I ended up that overweight, crunched, can't deal with life because thing that I felt and thought.
Well, and that's the reality, right? I mean, they just suck you dry, like emotionally. And no matter how much you give, it's never enough. It's never right. It's never what they wanted. You're making them look bad. Like it's the whole universe. It's like dealing with a 2-year-old, but you're married to them. And not to make light of this, there's quite often physical abuse involved or extreme mental, emotional, financial abuse is typically all rolled up in that package.
Yeah.
But the good news is you don't have to stay in marriages, right? You can get out. Yeah. So how, and we don't need to, this isn't therapy, so you don't need to necessarily just talk about this yourself, but how do you see women getting the courage? Because it really does take a lot of courage, because it's like Stockholm syndrome. You have been brainwashed into believing that you are the problem. It's not that you have accepted it. It is that you have been beaten down like a hostage until you have no emotional capacity to resist the information. It's gaslighting on like 100, right? So
Absolutely.
How do women find the courage, or men, let's face it, this can go both ways, or men, how do people find the courage to get out of these devastating relationships?
I can speak for myself and also share what some other stories that I've seen. So for me, it took physical abuse the first time, and having someone say, "I'm worried about you. You have to make a plan." And it was like, no, I go now. Because the abuse had happened so long, so insidious that, like you said, I believed that he was a good person and that, you know, I was responsible for it. So getting the courage came from a physical abuse that was just no more. I can't do this anymore. And having one person on my phone that I could call, even though there were none, but I called one. It was going through a horrid divorce. So she gave me the courage to go then, to make that shift. And so what I see women and men, because there are men that are abused by narcissists as well, is knowing that they have value and start educating and recognizing when you're being gaslit. That was the piece that actually let me know that he was really a narcissist, was recognizing, well, wait a minute, I say this and it's no. So if there's something that you really believe that is true and it's true for you and you're being told that it's not true, that's a place to start creating the crack in the shell. It's like, this is me, and keep grabbing yourself back. This is me. And give yourself the freedom to be yourself in the relationship. And you'll probably have pushback.
Yeah.
And get support. I mean, there's so many people out there. There's groups that can help. Oftentimes, you know, the help from a friend is it can get you out, but you need to have professional help. I spent lots of time training and getting help myself, as well as being able to help others through it. Feel your feelings.
Yeah.
If your feelings no longer have value, feel your feelings. If you're sad, if you're mad, you feel them. And feel them for a short period of time. And then let them go, because you really feel them. Because if you can feel an emotion for 30 seconds, it's going to be gone. And I've heard as much as 90 seconds, but when I first heard it was 30 seconds. So it takes me about 5 seconds. Like anger, I'm just going to hold this anger. I'm going to hold it. I'm just going to hold it. Hold this anger. Hold this anger with me. Hold it. Anyway, let's hold it. How long can you hold it? And it just goes.
Yeah.
So hold your sadness, hold your anger, hold your rage, hold that hopelessness, and just really feel it for that 30 seconds. And that creates cracks so that you can start moving forward and finding the steps that you need to get out, or the steps that you need to take if you think that you can salvage it, because some people make it work.
Yeah. And
especially if it's a parent.
I love what you said. And, you know, something I work with my clients on, because I am a divorce transition coach, but one of the things that I work with my clients on is, if that gaslighting is a thing, when they have an issue, when there's a discussion or argument or whatever you want to call it, or an issue, go write it down as you recall it right then and keep that somewhere private. Because then when the gaslighting starts, you can go to yourself, not necessarily to them, but you can go back and look, okay, I wrote this 2 minutes after, and this is what I thought then. So whatever crap they're trying to tell me now is just that. It's their version. So yes, I love that. So what are some of the things, other than having a friend, which I think is really powerful? Unfortunately, as you know, I'm sure that one of the hallmarks of narcissists and abusers is to isolate the person, right? To cut that friendship off. So, you know, there is the domestic violence hotline. Most communities have, domestic violence services at some level. That becomes, you know, there's a whole stigma about calling those things. I get it. And in small communities, I live in a very rural community. I work as a domestic violence client advocate for years. Everybody knows everybody. If you're talking to Marty, you're probably having a problem. And, you know, you don't want that. I get that. So call somebody in 2 communities over or 2 counties over, like whatever you got to do. But don't sit there and not do something. Even if it is going to the grocery store and, you know, saying to the clerk or something, if you're in an abusive situation, I need help. Like, reach out. Don't be embarrassed to do that. If you're so anyhow, enough of my soapbox stuff. Tell me.
But thank you so much for that. Well, because I didn't have that.
Yeah.
I didn't have that where I it had to get so bad for me to leave. But I do have three easy breaths that we could do.
Yes.
That it's something that they can do. They can go into the bathroom. They can do, I mean, you can go into the bathroom. You can take 3 easy breaths, and that gives you the power to go forward again. And to, because so often you don't know yourself anymore. As you said, you've been isolated. I was lucky that I allowed him to isolate me almost completely. There was no one on the phone that I felt I could call, but I did, and I'm glad. So let's just do the 3 easy breaths. It's, take a deep breath. There's a more effort to it, but an easy breath is the breath that you take as a child. Your diaphragm comes down, your belly comes out, the air rushes in, and then you allow the diaphragm to just naturally come back up, and the air pushes the air out. And we'll just do that for 3 breaths. And you can just do the breaths, or you can think about, where do I go next? What's my next step? What can I do to get out of the situation? So whatever you want to use it for, these 3 easy breaths will find the answer for you. So let's do this together. Close your eyes or not, because you can, but if you're driving, definitely keep your eyes open, and maybe even pull over so that you can really feel this, and do it anytime. So taking in a nice easy breath and letting it out. And I know if you've been in this situation for a long time that it's probably really difficult to move the breath down below your chest. But just allow yourself to think of yourself as a baby. And how easy it is. Your body knows how to take an easy breath. Just take in another easy breath. And let it out. As you take in this other easy breath, allow your belly to move out. Notice that it just does that naturally. As your diaphragm, your muscle of respiration, of breath, does its job to press the air in, allow the air in, and then press the air out. So just one more. And out. And welcome back. Welcome back.
That's a wonderful exercise to do, even if you're just feeling a little stressed, or you're going in to talk to your attorney or whatever you need to do. That's a really good centering exercise, isn't it?
Yeah. The easy breath.
Yeah.
So let's not make anything more difficult than it has been. You don't have to take a deep breath, just an easy breath.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit, so you said there's some other strategies that you could recommend. What are, I really like the breath one though. I think that would be my number one go-to, but what are some other things that people might be able to consider, or women may be able to think about at this time?
So if they're able to get out of the house and exercise, being able to exercise and do the confidence stance, the power stance. Because at home you're all crunched over. Go and just, if you can get in nature and do a power stance, or go, if you're allowed to go to the gym, work out. If you're allowed to walk. So it was too dangerous for me to go and walk on the road, but it was more dangerous in the house that I lived in. So find a place where you can, even if it's in a closet.
Yeah.
Stand in the confidence stance, which is your hands on
the
on your
superhero stance. We had somebody come on the podcast and teach us how to do that. So yeah, I love that.
Superhero stance. Yes, yourself. All the time, and all these things that aren't working. Yes, is actually create positive energy. You start saying yes. In fact, we can do this real quick too. We can rub our hands together and say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes. No.
No.
Notice how a no stops you, and how yes can actually fuel you. So that's another thing that you can do, is tell yourself yes. Give yourself yeses. Like, yes, I am a valid person. Yes, I have love to give. Yes, I've given too much to this person. Time for me to get out.
Yes.
Or yes, it's time for me to let go. If you're already through your divorce and it's like there's still that hanging on. I mean, I know with children it's a whole different deal, and I was very fortunate in that. But letting go the releasing relationship residue is like scraping it off the shower. So you can do the cutting cords, you can remove shackles. There's so many different tools. I have I made a tool, Gaslighting Gone, and it was like audio. I spoke, and then there was also some ancient healing soul language coming through, and then there's music under it. So that was something that I did, that when I was feeling like gaslighters were coming around again, I'd play that, and then I gave it to community. So I didn't even have that as a gift, but I think maybe that should be a gift for this, for your people.
Well, thank you. And I think, when you were talking about exercising, the thing that came to mind is that if there's one good thing that came out of COVID, is there's a ton of exercise videos for free on YouTube. Just go get them. You can exercise at home, like, wall Pilates and all that kind of stuff now that you can do. And it's free, and nobody even has to know that you're doing it. You can delete your browsing history after, and it's, it's gone. So yeah, or apps or whatever. So thank you for all of that's, that's really practical advice. And sometimes, it's great to talk about the theory behind all of this stuff, but it's also great to have some actionable tools that women or men in this situation can talk about or use. So the 3 easy breaths, doing the yes exercise, and then finding a way, if possible, to exercise, move your body, or use that superhero stance. Love those, Gwen. That's really helpful.
Thank you, Marty.
That's terrific. So if I had to ask you, and I know we've talked about a bunch of different things, but what do you think is the most important point that you have made on our divorce discussion here today?
Oh, the 3 easy breaths. They're just, they're pure magic, because so many, if you're in that stuck state where you can't breathe, just having those 3 easy breaths is a life changer. Conscious breath is probably one of our most important tools for change. And just breathe consciously, allow yourself to ask a question, look for the answer as you're breathing.
Yeah.
And giving yourself that
whole breath, body, mind connection, the whole yoga thing, it's so powerful, and it really makes a difference. And for somebody who started yoga at 55 years of age, I can say it makes a huge difference when you start doing that. So I so appreciate what you're saying. Gwen, if people, I know that you have a gift for people, and I know that it's hard to listen and take all this stuff. So I will make sure everything gets in the notes below this video. Just check it out. But can you tell us a little bit about that gift, or how they can reach out to you if they want to find out more about what you do?
Oh, absolutely. So I have a gift called the 3 Vital and New Ways to Overcome Anxious Overwhelm. And it's a checklist that has 3 almost magical ways to overcome anxiety, which was one of the hugest things that I dealt with in my divorce and my relationship. A way to amp up your immune system without drugs, herbs, or weird spiritual practices. Eliminate stress by the energies of clients and others' bad days. And the secret of overcoming FUD, the fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And then, of course, fixing one of the biggest challenges that comes when you're stressed and dealing with so much is feeling drained with low energy all the time. So that's a checklist that you'll have the link to, so that people can grab it below this. And happy to share that. Of course, I want your email address for it.
Yeah. And what is
and I
your?
Won't spam you.
do you have a podcast, or do you have a podcast? Do you have a website? Sorry, here I'm on podcasting right now.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. GwenLepard.com.
Okay.
And that's Gwen, Gwen Lepard, like the big cat, but without the O, Lepard.com. And you can get on my calendar there as well for a quick chat.
Great. Wonderful. Gwen, thank you so much for all your insight. And like I say, I love that actionable stuff, and really looking forward to connecting with you and having more conversations in the future. So really appreciate you, Gwen, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Marty.